Except for maybe those illegal black market sites, I never thought any of that dark web shit was real. It's like, oh yeah, that cursed image will totally cause my death if I look at it. Or this video of an unidentified monster attacking people in the forest is definitely real. I'm so sure that stumbling on the wrong page and clicking the wrong link will cause an assassin to show up and take me out. It was funny to me that anyone would actually buy into any of that. My friend Jeff was obsessed with the dark web though. He wasn't trying to score illegal drugs or anything like that, but was convinced some of that spooky crap was real. He was always quoting some third or fourth hand account of his cousin's friend's sister's boyfriend being murdered by a ghost girl after reading her suicide note on the dark web. I couldn't help but laugh at how gullible he was to believe those stupid stories. But he was determined to find something he could prove was authentic. Now, after all the shit I gave him for believing, I am going to be the one sitting here telling you some far-fetched story and claiming it is true. Jeff went missing a week ago, and I need any help I can find to figure out how to get him back. Let me tell you the story, and maybe someone will know how to help. I got a text from Jeff on Friday night last week asking me to head over to his place. I was already out and not too far from his place, so I headed over and got there maybe 20 minutes after he'd messaged. He was so excited about showing me something. He opened the door before I even knocked. You have to see this. A guy I know online sent me this link last week. It seemed like some shitty black web stuff at first. Just a collection of unsecured webcam links, but it's actually more than that. I could tell he'd had way too much caffeine and not nearly enough sleep. I'm not into perverted shit, and I didn't think you were either. I was a bit disappointed that Jeff would get into something like that, but he quickly assured me that wasn't the case. No, it's not about spying. I mean, it is about what's on the cameras. But it's not like what you're thinking. Just let me show you and explain, okay? I followed him to his desk and a camera feed was pulled up on his monitor. He took a seat and ushered me closer. Okay, take a look and tell me what you see. Well, it looks like there's an intersection, and this camera is pointed at a building on the opposite corner. I took a step toward his desk and looked more closely. Looks like a bank. There are some other buildings around, but the focus is mainly on this bank. Some signs on the side of the road by the camera caught my eye. The street sign says, wait, hold on, that can't be right. Isn't this intersection right down the street? Ding ding ding, that is correct. I've spent the last few days verifying both the location and this is indeed a real-time feed. He pointed to an electronic sign in front of the bank. Right here. It is kind of difficult to make out, but you can see the date and time on the sign in front of the bank. I've been using this to verify there is no looping. The time has been accurate since at least 3 days ago. That's when I found this feed. Okay, but it's obviously fake. I walked by that intersection on the way here. I kept studying the screen. The bank had thrown me off at first. But slowly the familiar details had begun to stand out. There's no bank on that corner, just a bodega. Why even bother making something like that? A smile was spreading across Jeff's face as I spoke. Right? Now, watch this clip I took of the stream a little while ago. He pulled up a video player that showed the same bank and hit play. There wasn't much going on for the first 20 seconds or so, and then a guy came into view walking along the sidewalk and going past the bank. As he got closer to the corner of the intersection, I realized it wasn't just some random guy. It was me. It was a video of me from just a little while ago when I was walking to get here. The clothes matched and everything. Just so you know, I'm not so weird I would stand by the door for 20 minutes waiting for you. I knew you were coming. Jeff pulled the web browser back up and closed out of the camera feed. Now we were looking at a huge index of camera feeds. Some of them were like our bank feed. Just cameras watching buildings. Some look like store security cameras, and others were personal webcams showing the inside of various homes. I haven't gone through all of them obviously, but I've gone through a number of the cameras that are located outside, and I've been able to locate where at least some of them are. I was using Google Street View, so it may just have been outdated. But all the ones I could find were the same as our bank. They are watching some building that isn't actually there. He clicked on one of the feeds to pull it up. This one, for example, is actually just a soccer field when you pulled up on Google Maps. Wait, but you saw me on the camera, right? So what happens when some kids go to play on that field? I still thought that this was bullshit, or Jeff was just fucking with me, and was genuinely curious how he'd answer that one. I had the exact same question, so I've been keeping an eye on this camera. Let me show you. Jeff tabbed over to another video and hit play. Some kids in soccer uniforms were walking along in front of the building before turning and walking straight into the side of the building. Once they hit the wall, they just stood there. They just stand like that for a while. Everyone else that comes along did the exact same thing. After like an hour or so, they turn around and walk away like nothing happened. The fuck? They've gotta be in on it. That's the only explanation. Faced with something that didn't make sense, my stubborn brain simply denied it even harder. Yeah, that'd be the obvious explanation. After seeing this, the most reasonable explanations is that these people are somehow in on the act. That's why I had to verify one last thing. Watch this video. I took this one myself. Jeff played another video for me. Okay, here we are, across the intersection from the bodega. Jeff's voice was talking as the camera showed the bodega across the street from him. That is where the bank is in the feed, so the camera is located somewhere on this corner. Based on the location of the street sign, the camera should be right around here. The camera turned from the bodega to the wall behind Jeff. It was a brick wall with nothing on it. No camera. I looked around for a while to be certain, but there was definitely no camera anywhere. I had the feed recording until I got back and confirmed I was looking right at the camera. Jeff was looking at me expectantly. What the hell does that mean? How could there be no camera? I was dumbfounded. The rest I could just deny as being faked somehow, but I knew he wouldn't bullshit me like that, and I had no explanation for how there could be no camera at all. That's when Jeff proposed his plan. I'd like to think maybe my brain was fried from trying to process everything, and that's why I went along with something so stupid. But either way, I was a complete idiot for not stopping him. I want to go in there. After everything he'd observed through the feeds in the preceding week, Jeff had begun to theorize that we can interact with the things on the cameras. He referenced the video of the soccer field as an example, and that he thought the kids were in fact touching the building. They just weren't aware because in our world, their physical bodies just passed right through. He wasn't sure what would happen if he managed to get in, and that is why he wanted me here, so at least someone would know if something went wrong. I had just nodded along during his whole spiel, not really knowing what to say. I mean, it couldn't be dangerous because none of this was real, I told myself. He'll go out there, maybe embarrass himself, then we'd have a good laugh and get drunk. His plan was to bring his phone and tablet while I stayed in the apartment. The phone would be to keep in touch with me while streaming video to his desktop, and he'd keep the camera feed open on the tablet. Using the camera feed, he'd try to locate and open the door to the bank and see what happened. Why didn't I stop him? Why did I just sit there and go along with everything? Sure, he'd probably just look like an idiot, but say it was real. What was the worst case scenario? Maybe I am just being too hard on myself in hindsight, but he's fucking gone now, and I can't help blaming myself. Jeff got everything together and set up a mic for me to communicate with him. He had his phone and tablet good to go with some battery packs and a backpack with basic supplies just in case. I came so close to trying to call it off as he was heading out the door. But my damn ego was afraid I'd be the one looking like an idiot. Jeff's voice came through the computer speakers. "Alright, I'm heading down the street towards the bodega. I should show up on the feed in a moment." His monitor was split between the camera feed and the stream from his phone, and my eyes were glued to it. It was only a few minutes between when he left and when he showed up on screen. "Just don't do anything stupid, Jeff. If this is real, you have no idea what you could be messing with." Yeah, I know. Don't worry so much. Based on the feed, I should be standing right in front of the door." He aimed his phone at some empty space in front of the bodega. I could see his hand reaching out. "I don't think I'll be able to feel anything, so I just have to hope I can judge it right." He tried a few times, but nothing seemed to be happening. Maybe I could see a bit better on his monitor than he could on the tablet. But it looked like he was slightly too far to the right. Another moment, I could have stopped all this. But instead, I let him know. "Try moving a step to the left. It looks like you are a little off." Yeah. Okay, I think you're right." A few more tries and I thought maybe he'd give up. It looked like he was either really close or was right on it, but it wasn't working. "Damn, maybe you're right, and it is fake. I swear my hand is right on... Wait." He pointed the camera on his phone directly at his hand that looked to be grasping nothing. He slowly pulled it toward him, and a line of light as if a door in a dark room was opening to a brightly lit hallway appeared. "Holy shit! Oh my fucking fuck, dude, it's real! It's real! Oh my god, my heart won't stop racing. I finally found it! Something I can prove is real." And those were the last words I heard him speak. Even going back over the video from his phone in slow motion, it is impossible to tell what it actually was. But something came out of the light and grabbed Jeff. I heard a shrill scream before his phone fell to the ground, and I just barely caught a glimpse of the light disappearing before the feed cut. I couldn't move for a long time. At least a few hours went by before I finally managed to go retrieve his phone. When I found it outside the bodega, there was no other sign that my friend had been there. The phone didn't work anymore, and the back was seared where something scorching hot had burned it. I haven't left his apartment since. I've been watching the camera for any sign of him, but I have yet to see anything happen. None of this has reappeared, and nothing has gone in or out of the bank. What do I do now? What happened to Jeff? I'm too scared to go outside.